התנערי מעפר קומי, לבשי בגדי תפארתך עמי, על יד בן ישי בית הלחמי, בואי קרובה אל נפשי גאלה. התנערי מעפר גומי, לבשי בגדי תפארתך עמי, על יד בן ישי בית הלחמי, בואי קרובה אל נפשי גאלה.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Welcome to our Shabbat at home together. Zoe, Francesca, and I are so happy to be with you to welcome Shabbat together.
In our journey through the Torah, we find ourselves in the third Torah portion of Sefer Bereshit, the book of Genesis. This Torah portion moves us from the grand global mysteries of creation and the flood to the particularity of the birth of the Jewish people, with our first four parents, who were then called Avram and Sarai.
The Torah portion starts, Vayomer Yud He Vav He El Avram, Lech Lecha me'artzecha u'me'eretz mimoladatecha, mi'beit avicha el eretz asher arecha. Avram heard the call from the great place of mystery. Go from your land, or rather, go into yourself, from your birthplace and from your father's house to the land that I will show you.
Our people has seen this single phrase as our challenge, to be seekers and searchers, to become boundary crossers in search of meaning and purpose in our lives. Tonight we are invited to consider times in our lives when we felt a call to make a significant move in our life in hopes of finding more meaning, or maybe just a new start.
What a lovely intention for this Shabbat. This beautiful time of transition from the week we've just completed into this sacred time of reflection, connection, and renewing our spirits. Please join us in Ma Yafeh Hayom. How beautiful this day of Shabbat. Ma Yafeh Hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Ma Yafeh Hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Ma Yafeh Hayom, Ma Yafeh Hayom. Shabbat Shalom. Ma Yafeh Hayom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.
And now a meditation on Shabbat by Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel, Zichrono Livracha. May his memory be a blessing. Please listen carefully. Time is our most important frontier, the advanced region of significant being, a region where our true freedom lies. Space divides us, time unites us. We wage wars over things of space. The treasures of time lie open to every one of us.
Heschel continues, time has independent ultimate significance. It is of more majesty and more evocative of awe than even a sky studded with stars. Gliding gently in the most ancient of all splendors, it tells so much more than space can say in its broken language of things, playing symphonies upon the instruments of isolated beings, unlocking the earth and making it happen.
Time is the process of creation, and things of space are the results of creation. Things of space show off a veneer of limited permanence. Things created conceal the Creator. It is the dimension of time wherein we meet God, wherein we become aware that every instant is an act of creation, a beginning, opening new roads for ultimate realizations.
Time is the presence of God in the world of space. And it is within time that we're able to sense the unity of all beings. End quote.
Amen.
Amen. Now we are ready to sanctify time by lighting our Shabbat candles. Sing in the light.
Sing in the light.
Sing in the light.
Sing in the light.
Sing in the light of Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom. Sing in the light.
Sing in the light.
Sing in the light.
Sing in the light.
Sing in the light of Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom. We'll ask the folks here to please rise. If you're at home, lighting your own Shabbat candles, you join us. If you just want to sing the blessings with us, we are blessed. Symbolically gather in the light. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kirishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Shabbat shalom.
Shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Give somebody a hug.
Please sing with us Shalom Aleichem to welcome ourselves into an awareness of entering Shabbat time. It's on pages 12 and 13 in the prayer books.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Mahalachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Boachem leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Mahalachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Baruchuni leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Mahalachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Tzedchem leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Mahalachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. This Shabbat, when we acknowledge the vision of our ancestors, not to settle for superficial material satisfaction and seek something more, something bigger. we listen to our friends from the band Nefesh Mountain sing their response to the Lech Lecha call, which they have entitled Bound for the Promised Land.
I stand and cast a wishful eye, for I see a fair and happy land, and that's where my heart does lie.
Where the orchards and fields that never fail, and the fig and the olive trees grow, where the rocks and the streams, the brooks and the vales, and the milk and the honey flow.
I'm bound for the promised land, my friend. Bound for the promised land. Oh, will come and go with me. I'm bound for the promised Oh, this new world can let us down, and its gifts are not always free. But I dream of the sights, the scents, and the sounds, and turn my thoughts to the east. I'm bound for the promised land, my friends. I'm bound for the promised land. Oh, will come and go with me. I'm bound for the promised land. In days when love seems only a jest and hope turns callously cold, well, I remember I'm one on a holy quest and return to the stones of the old. I'm bound for the promised land, my friend. I'm bound for the promised land. Oh, will come and go with me. I'm bound for the promised land. I'm bound for the promised land, my friend. I'm bound for the promised land. Oh, who will come and go with me? I'm bound for the promised land. Yes, I'm bound for the promised land.
When one feels called moved to act, to course correct or even radically alter one's life. There are so many voices, well-meaning friends and family and voices within, trying to convince us not to change, not to risk. But our Torah teaches us not to be held back by fear, not to get lost in the minutiae of life, blinded by routine and the mundane. Psalm 121, which can be found on page 215, says, "I lift up my eyes to the mountains. Help me to see the big picture, the majesty of my existence."
Hi lie 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 lie, hi lie 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 lie, hi lie 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 lie, hi 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 lie lie hi lie lie hi lie 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 lie. Hi la 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 la, 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 hi la 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 la. Esa enai el harim, me'ayin me'ayin yavo Ezri. Esa enai el harim, me'ayin me'ayin yavo Ezri. Ezri. Me'im Adonai oseh shamayim va'aretz. Ezri. Me'im Adonai oseh shamayim va'aretz. Zoe and I were both inspired by this week's call, this week's Lech Lecha, to share our own experiences of being called tonight. Zoe?
Thank you. February of 2020. For the first time, I participated in Friday night services from the Bima. Rabbi Dan and I conceived of a Shabbat service celebrating love in response to the secular and originally Christian holiday of Valentine's Day. We made a playlist of Jewish songs in Hebrew and English that were chosen to open the hearts of the people at the service. We invited anyone who has ever loved or who hopes to love to join us. It was a success. I felt honored to be on the Bima, and I believed that this was a one-time privilege, or at least an occasional one. And yet, Rabbi Dan had other ideas. He felt there was something about sharing the Bima together that inspired him, and also inspired the Kahal, the congregation. A month later, Rabbi Dan and I were on a day trip to a beautiful part of Northern California near Napa and Calistoga, when we heard on the radio that the entire state of California was going under a shelter-in-place order that night. No one would be allowed to leave their homes except for essential activities. This meant no school, no work, and lots of fear that a deadly disease was spreading and threatening every vulnerable person, whether due to their age or their medical status or their accidental exposure to a sick person. It felt a little bit like the story of Passover, and in fact, Passover was almost here, but no one was allowed to travel, not even next door or across the street. Rabbi Dan looked at me and said, "We have to figure out how to give hope and comfort to our community, and our only option is through the internet." Zoom was new to us. So was Facebook Live and YouTube Live. We did not yet have a camera system in the Beth Chaim sanctuary. This meant that we would somehow have to broadcast our message from our own home. The first time we went live on Facebook, or was it Zoom, I cannot tell you how nervous I was. All my life, I have struggled with stage fright, also known as performance anxiety. As a girl, I loved singing when I was alone or in a big group of people, like at summer camp. But as soon as I got on a stage, alone, or in front of a group of people, I was unable to eke out even anything more than a very, very soft voice. And this stopped me from doing so many things that I wanted to do throughout much of my life. Because it wasn't just singing, it was also speaking. When I was asked to teach or present, I got so shaky and so nervous for days leading up to the event that it just didn't feel worth it to me. But in the spring of 2020, I felt called. I felt called to do this, to co-lead with Rabbi Dan at his side, to support him as much as anything else at first. But as I soon discovered, to also create meaning and purpose for this strange and mysterious moment in my own life. And I felt the fear and the sadness, loneliness, frustration, anger, and suffering of people that I was learning to know and care about, this community, this congregation. I felt called to help in the way that I know best, through spiritual connection. So there I was, on a Friday night in March, or maybe it was April, sitting in my own kitchen next to Rabbi Dan with all the lamps from our living room and the other rooms focused on us and the computer screen, and feeling like the whole world was watching me, waiting for me to make a mistake or to say, "Wait, what is she doing there? She's not a rabbi." Looking back, it's almost hard to remember how scared I was, because so much has changed. I think Rabbi Dan recently counted that we've done or did more than 50 services together during COVID. There were times when I was so nervous that I had giggling fits and I couldn't stop laughing during the service, purely due to performance anxiety. There were times when I had planned to sing something and I had practiced or to read something or say something, and I decided at the very last second that I simply didn't have the nerve to do it. And sometimes I felt that I had made a mistake in a prayer or a song, and I just wanted to disappear and run away from the screen. Week after week, I showed up for Friday evenings and got more involved in creating and leading the services. There were many times when I had good excuses not to participate, but even when my regular work started back up again, I set aside Fridays as a special day, a day of mentally and emotionally preparing for Shabbat. I learned and fell in love with so many new songs. I wrote about prayer, and more importantly, I prayed. I can say now, looking back, that I felt called to do something extraordinary for me in 2020, and I responded. Today, my performance anxiety is dramatically less than it was before, but overcoming a life-limiting fear is one thing, and growing into spiritual leadership is another. I sometimes have to stop and wonder and thank God for making space for me on the bima.
Amen. Thank you, Zoe.
Thank you.
The most well-known musical version of Lech Lecha was composed by the late Debbie Friedman may her memory be a blessing, who feminized it as Lechi Lach. Sadly, Debbie didn't leave us a video of this iconic piece. However, we'd like to share with you a sweet version by a youthful Jewish choral group called Naked Voices. Please listen.
We turn to page 246, 247, underneath the line that's there, for our intention leading into the Baruch Hu. If you are able, please rise in body or in spirit.
As we bless the source of life, so we are blessed. As we bless the source of life, so we are blessed. And the blessing gives us strength and makes our visions clear. And the blessing gives us peace and the courage to dare. As we bless the source of life, so we are blessed. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. Have a seat. We open to Ma'ariv Aravim on page 59. We'll sing the first and last lines of this prayer that welcomes the evening and the stars. Shabbat is our time of rebalancing, of evening the frayed edges of our lives. Please sing back to us and pause for a moment to make this prayer grounded and real, to think about what is it that needs rebalancing at this moment. Just the consciousness is a prayer in itself. Evening. The evening.
The evenings.
evening the fray edges of our lives. Ma'ari, Aravim, Amen.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim.
Amen. Evening.
Evening.
The evenings.
The evenings.
Evening the frayed edges of our lives. Ma'ari. Aravi. Amen. El chai v'kayam tamid yimloch aleinu le'am va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai. Ma'ariv aravim.
Now it is time for the Shema and Ve'ahavta. Please offer this deep prayer of affirmation with us.
It's on page 65. If your tradition is to rise, you may do so. If it's to sit, you're right where you need to be. But, you know, here in the sanctuary, and we have a lovely gathering tonight, and all of you who are watching at home, let's make one sound. Let's sing and connect through this deep prayer of affirmation. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malechuto Leolam Vaed. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha uvechol nafshecha uvechol meodecha vehayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם, ושבתך בביתך, ולכתך בדרך, ושוכבך, ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. So we invite you into a meditative space for the reflective time of the Amidah. The renowned Israeli singer-songwriter Yonatan Razel has composed a new piece of prayer that is also a loving midrash on Lech Lecha, this week's Torah portion. It's called If You Want to Travel.
If you want to travel fast, travel alone. If you want to travel fast, travel alone. If you want to travel far, travel far. Down this winding road, we'll travel together. If you want to travel fast, travel alone. If you want to travel fast, travel alone. If you want to travel far, travel far. Down this winding road, travel together. If you want to be alive, if you want to be human, you got to give, got to give. If you want to be a light, if you want to be human, and to forgive, to forgive. Searching for my way to be closer, as far from myself, away from home. Searching in the night, my eyes wide open, searching for a way to get closer. What does it mean to be alive? Mean to be human. You got to give, got to give. What does it mean to be a light? Mean to be human. Give me a hand, me your hand. If you wanna be alive, wanna stay human, give me a hand, give me your hand. If you wanna be a light, wanna be human, you got to give, got to give. If you wanna travel fast, travel alone. If you wanna travel far, travel together.
Amen.
Amen.
Now we offer a prayer for peace. Let's say Shalom Bimromav. Please join with us.
Hi la 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 la. Hi la 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 la. Hi la 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 la. Hi la 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 la. Hi la 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 la. Hi la 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 la. Hi la 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 la. Hi la 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 la. Oh, say shalom bimroma. Hu yaseh shalom leinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imru Amen. Hi la 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 la. Hi la 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 la. Hi la 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 la. Hi la 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 la. Hi la 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 la. Hi la 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 la. Hi la 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 la. Hi la 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 la. The notion of being called, which is how I understand Lech Lecha, is sometimes difficult to wrap one's brain around. Many of us think of this as a religious experience, as in someone believing that God is speaking to them. I don't think that the experience of being called lives exclusively in the religious realm. Someone might feel called to leave their job, explore a new direction. People experience being called differently. Sometimes it involves some other life-changing direction, like leaving the place where you're living and moving to a new place for a fresh start. I've heard people feeling called to get out of a relationship that feels stuck or is not fully alive. There is no one-size-fits-all with regard to experiencing a powerful feeling to make a significant life change. Many people have talked to me in a way that I perceived as being called, but talked themselves out of listening to that call. It's often quite challenging to respond to being called because it almost always involves some form of change that has meaningful consequences in one's life. I've experienced what I understood as being called several times in my life. During my senior year of college, I received a wonderful scholarship offer to attend the graduate school of my choice. It's called the Danville Fellowship and was a full scholarship to any graduate program in the country. I visited the University of Chicago to explore studying with an internationally renowned scholar named Mircea Eliade, who did fascinating work about mythologies of different cultures and comparative religion that really grabbed me. I visited the Harvard Divinity School, and I looked at some very exciting graduate programs at Stanford. Every place I visited said that they are always honored to accept a Danforth Fellow into their graduate programs. But all the while, I felt this dis-ease within me about entering an intense, rigorous academic program of study that would certainly last for at least 4 years. I had spent my junior year abroad at the Hebrew University in Jerusalem, and had spent nearly 4 months traveling all over Europe. I felt a call to explore life out in the real world and not bury myself in the ivory tower of academia. Now, everyone I talked to told me that I was crazy and that it would be insane to turn down a life-changing opportunity like the Danforth Fellowship. But I heard the call to go out into the world so strongly, and yet I began to doubt myself. Was I really making the biggest mistake of my life if I passed on this opportunity? When I was struggling to decide, I went home to Cleveland to stay with my mother for a few weeks to try to clear my head. One night after dinner, my mother and I were sitting in the living room, and she asked me where my heart was at. I told her of my calling to go out into the world, and I spoke about my doubts and fears about making a bad decision. She said to me what might sound like a cliche, but at the time, it was some of the best advice I ever received. She said, "My love, follow your heart and you will never go wrong. Trust your heart and you will find your way, your way." That night, I decided to turn down the fellowship, and I took a summer job as a teacher and tour guide on a trip to Israel for 200 teens. I had no plans beyond that, but I felt good about going back to Israel and playing out my dreams. I will never know what might have happened if I had taken the fellowship. That is the road not taken. But I have no regrets about my decision. I ended up spending 4 more years in Jerusalem, where I first wrote for the Jerusalem Post, and then ran an exciting theater club in Jerusalem, where I met so many extraordinary people from all over the world. I got to work with directors, actors, musicians, and other remarkably creative people who taught me so much. I also met my late wife, Yael, with whom I would spend nearly 4 decades raising 2 amazing children and led a life of countless blessings. I am forever grateful for listening and responding to that call. It is one of my most cherished Lech Lecha moments. May we all talk about moments of being called, share our lives with the people we trust and we love. Ken Yehi Ratzon, so may it be. Amen. Amen.
Amen. Now we invite you to visualize the loved ones and friends who are in need of a prayer for healing. If you are on Facebook, you can type in the names of your own loved ones if you wish. And in a moment, you are all invited to say the names aloud.
O God of compassion, source of healing, God who blessed Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, we offer this prayer on behalf of and Art Klein, Bill Fisher, Dave Messing, Cindy Watkin, Bob Arnold, Andy Orgel, Bryce Kelly, Tamara Grelk, Harvey Finkel, Herb Holden, Mildred Bernstein, Aaron Ben Yerucham HaKohen, Otto Jagoda, Shira Bat Chaim Mordechai Valiba Dvora, Judy Levin, Jason Moss, Cheryl Adler, Shira Bat Chaim Varut, Judy Hesser, Yehudit Shira Bat Yisrael Veshifra, Charlotte Markowitz, Robert Glazier, David Ben David Vedina, Lorette Abrams, Naama Levana Bat Avraham Vesara, Savion Plum, Judith Damboak, Naftali Ben Yidl Veshifra, Beth Siegel, Chaya Sarah Mina Bat Rivka Bela, Rabbi Marsha Prager, Bila Bat Eliyahu V'Chaya, Tzipora Rachel Bat Esther V'Aryeh, David Ben Esther V'Aryeh, V'Binyamin Nachshon Ben Esther V'Aryeh. El Narafana La Refuah Shlema El Narafana La. Please heal this soul. Misheberach Avraham Vesara Yitzchak v'Rivka, Yaakov, Rachel v'Leah, El Narafana La, Refuah Shlema, El Narafana La. Please heal this soul. With faith and love, together we bring hope and healing to those in need. Without judgment, without explanation, we are all God's creation. El Narefana La, refuah shlema, elna refanala. Please heal their soul. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, healing of body, healing of spirit, and dear God, please give strength to those who lovingly provide them with care. And we say together, Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Now our Yortzeit observances for this week. Adele Rosenbluth, mother of Ellen Rosenbluth. Abraham Strauss, father of Fran Birnbaum. Jean Doranson, mother of Mary Day. Edwin Spainer, father-in-law of Jim Petrick. Bertram Rothman, father of Nadine Rosenzweig. Calvin Ziecki, father of Pam Messing. Penny Aransky, mother of Carl Aransky. Addison Nelson, father of Laura Ritchie. And Christopher Carter, brother of Tim Carter. Our Kadisha tome is on page 131. All those who are in the first year of mourning the loss of a close loved one are invited to rise to honor their memory. Anyone observing a Yortzeit this week is invited to rise to honor the memories of these loved ones. And anyone else who feels the need to say the Kadisha tome tonight is invited to rise. We say for all of those who are holding this prayer tonight, Zichronam livracha. May their memories forever be a blessing. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Bi'alma divra chirute v'yamlich malchute. B'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael. Ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru.
Amen.
Yehi shmei Rabbah mevarach. Leolam uleomei olmaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach. V'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal. Shemei dekurusha.
Brichu.
Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tush bechata v'nechemata. Da'amiran bi'alma v'imru.
Amen.
Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru.
Amen.
Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru.
Amen.
Zecher. Zecher, Zecher, Tzadikim livracha, livracha. May their memories bless our days, bless our days. Amen. Amen. Now time for the Kiddush and the Motzi. We invite you to join us virtually, or if you're at home and you have some wine or something sweet to embody the taste of this Shabbat, of the particular sweetness of this Shabbat, invited to join us. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Amen. L'chaim.
L'chaim.
L'chaim, l'chaim.
Can you read?
Oh, homemade challah.
Yes, credit to Ava.
Baruch Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
We will close the service tonight with a stirring tribal version of Lech Lecha from our friends at the Jewish women's a cappella group Ya'ela. They will begin with the traditional Torah chant of the Lech Lecha verse from the Torah, and then the vocal pyrotechnics will begin.
And I want to interrupt and say that the leader of this group was once our choir director, Bon Singer. You'll see it. We only have a photograph of the album cover.
Right, this will be an audio experience.
But listen to this pulse and the energy of this beautiful rendition.
What in your life is calling you? When all the noise is silenced, the meetings adjourned, the lists laid aside, and the wild iris blooms by itself in the dark forest. What still pulls on your soul? In the silence between the heartbeats hides a summons. Do you hear it? Name it if you must, or leave it forever nameless, but why pretend it isn't there?
Have a blessed Shabbat.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom.